stuff.
How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crumb. Mike, how are you?
Doing good, man. Got the 70s porn stash working right now. So it's going good.
It's a good look, man. It's a good look.
Yeah, I do not like it, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, I think I've got the perfect song for that mustache. Hold on real quick.
Oh my gosh, he's using it. Mike, we talked about this last week.
I can't hear anything. Do y'all hear it?
Yeah.
You hear it? Yeah.
Oh wow, that's weird. I can hear y'all, but I can't hear the music. Weird.
Dude,
Is that the right song though?
You'd have to ask Brendan. I do not remember.
I remember I found this last week before we started, and I was like, "Oh, Mike, we can play music." I was like, "Oh, okay."
He was going through. I was like, "Yeah, just put a background music on." And a song like that, I'm rolling on right 2.5 hours sleep. So,
well, Mike, where can we find you on Twitter, sir?
At CD Piglet, guys, nice and easy.
Yes, and of course, no show is complete without Brendan Fergie Smith, the conductor of the Jake Ferguson Hype Train. Brendan, how are you?
I'm doing great. We're all back together. We're starting off with a bang with Mike's stash, so everything's perfect.
Yeah, Brendan, I know you're pretty excited for tonight's episode. This is going to be your first episode of doing like a roster breakdown, man.
I love this stuff. This is where I turn into a complete nerd, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear your breakdown, man. It'll be nice because I know we usually, when it's just me and Mike, I'm relying on him for all the evaluations of players and whatnot. So it'll be nice to hear another side of the story, if you will.
This is just the best time of year. I'm sorry, a lot of people lose their jobs and it's sad and all, but this is a game, and I will command it like one, and it's gonna be great.
All right, well, Brendan, where can we find you on Twitter, sir?
You can find me at Brendan_Smith26.
I am Paul Ryan, and you can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, it feels like it's been forever since the three of us have done a show together, and I'm excited to have the crew back together. One thing we haven't discussed in quite some time, and we must discuss before we talk anything football related. Of course, I'm referring to my personal favorite segment, Meatless Monday. Mike, what was on the menu today?
We had something good actually today. I had a cheese and vegetable mole enchiladas. They were really yummy. They were really good. I haven't decided what I'm gonna have for dinner. To be honest, I have no idea. But for lunch, I had those, and I love mole. Mole is like one of my favorite sauces, and so it was really good. I was super happy.
I've tried mole a handful of times and I've never liked it. I guess I'm just not a mole guy.
It's spicy, but it has that little hint of sweetness. If it doesn't hit with the spicy and sweet, then get it out of there.
Brendan, what about you? Are you a mole guy?
Not really. I don't really go too far out into foods that much. I'm getting better, but I'm 21. I see you shaking your head, Mike. I'm 21.
He eats chicken nuggets now with.
I haven't had chicken nuggets in a while, sir. I just had a burger today for dinner. So.
Man,
what are we talking? Whataburger, In-N-Out?
Well, my dad made burgers.
Oh, nice.
Oh, they were great. I felt so stuffed.
What's your perfect burger, Brendan?
Oh, are we talking about from certain places, or are we talking about if I just made one?
If you just made one.
So it's gonna be double patty burger with cheese, bacon. I love onion strings on them. That makes it great. And then it depends on what type of mood I'm in. Sometimes barbecue sauce is great, but sometimes if you don't eat it fast enough, everything gets too soggy. So then there's a problem with that. But it's the onion strings and that bacon that really get me. But also, like I said, I do love me some barbecue sauce on it.
Yeah, I believe my wife's favorite burger is probably a barbecue sauce burger. So yeah, I can see the appeal to that. They are pretty good. I know we did a top 5 on burgers, Mike. I don't remember what your perfect burger is or your favorite burger.
Mine's bougie, of course. It has bacon jam, dressed arugula for some pepperiness, a garlic aioli, of course I don't have like Bacon and, like mine has to be
onion
like
strings. Onion strings, dude.
I love onion strings. Onion strings are good. Onion strings wouldn't work with the arugula and the bacon jam, but I'd say my second favorite would be like a Western barbecue type, which is onion rings, bacon, barbecue sauce, cheddar cheese. That's a really good one too.
Absolutely. Well, we're already getting off topic here, guys. We're not so much off topic, but before we go into a food tangent, let's at least get to some football here for the audience. And the preseason has officially ended, and the Cowboys end their preseason with a losing record going 1-2. Their latest loss, 26-19 via the Chargers. This final preseason game, better known as dress rehearsal, is the most important game for some players, whether it be Trey Lance trying to win the QB2 job, Deuce Vaughn trying to prove his worth to earn a roster spot, or the seasoned veterans who are in the final stages of their careers and trying to stay in the league. The preseason does have some importance. Mike, what did you learn about this team in the Chargers game?
You kind of learned right before the game when you found out like Hoffman's playing and BB's sitting. You're like, oh, okay, BB's the starting center. You're good, Brooks isn't playing, Carson isn't playing, the guys that they left off, you automatically were like, okay, we're confirmed what we suspected. So once the game starts, it's kind of whatever, but before the game you get some big nods into what's going to happen come week 1 against Cleveland.
Absolutely. What about you, Brendan? What did you learn, if anything?
Well, first off, that is the first thing that popped in my mind when I read that question, Mike's. But what I also learned, like, of course, we'll go into detail on some other things. It's your safeties. Dude, Marquise Bell, my Lord. He's just, like, this preseason, he's been everywhere. And mainly after this game, he's been great. Julius Wood, which we'll go into more detail later, makes plays again. He's just the right place, right time. You're safe. We complained for years about the safety room because your best safety was either J.J. Wilcox or Jeff Heath, which that still makes me want to throw up.
Gross.
This is the deepest we've ever had, and honestly, probably the best we've ever had.
Yes, sir. You look at Trey Lance, who was kind of the star of that preseason game, throwing 5 interceptions. Brendan, is Trey Lance worse or better than you initially thought?
Okay, so I said this on Twitter earlier. It depends on the way you're looking at it. People who are thinking he's the heir to Dak, awful. Like, oh my gosh, awful. But if you're looking at him like the player he is, an experimental third QB on your roster, I think he looked better. He looked well because that game against the Rams, I didn't want to watch football. Like, I was trying to analyze everybody. I'm like, oh, that's an overthrow. Oh, well, he just threw that in there, right at the ground. He's running for no reason. But no, he had that 49 rushing touchdown. Looked great. He had some decision making. That ball to Flournoy was a thing of beauty. I think Flournoy had a better catch. But that was a good throw. But those interceptions are god awful. So Dak's gonna Dak's gonna get paid within the next week and a half. We're gonna be all good. Yes. He took the gamble and he completely lost. He's like, hey, he's gonna make the roster. He's gonna be Cooper Rush didn't have to play. If that doesn't say something, then that's just sad.
Perfect segue into my next question, Mike. Is Trey Lance good enough to play in the NFL?
He's not good enough to start. He could be a backup. That's one thing that I tell people that are like I'm totally good with Cooper Rush being QB2 because you've seen him win and everything. But if they were like, hey, we invested, we're just going to put Lance as QB2, there'd be a lot of people that'd be like, what? And I'm like, who cares, dude? Like, Cooper Rush ran the 26th offense. Like, you know what's going to happen if you lose Dak? Your defense is going to have to play top 5, and Brandon Aubrey and Brian Anger are going to have to be the all-pros that they are. And then the quarterback makes enough plays to win. Can Trey Lance do that? Sure. If the defense plays at a top 5 level like he did – like they did in all 5 games Cooper Rush won, Lance could win those games. So, like, I don't care either one. Neither one of those are going out and winning. Cooper Rush ain't sitting there scoring you 30 points. Like, he's going to score you 20. Is the defense going to be good enough to hold on to that? Lance can do that. So, like, if they decided out of nowhere to keep Lance as QB2, who cares? Fine. I wouldn't. Cooper Rush has earned that spot with his play before. But, like, to make it like, Cooper Rush is this ultimate backup, and man, you can't put Lance in there. Like, if you don't have Dak, the offense is not going to be the problem, the part that wins you the game. So yeah, that he's not a starter, but he has enough talent to run, make some plays with his arm and everything. I kind of hoped he'd be further along going into, I think this is his 4th year. Like, as his decision making, the way he sees the field still seems to be like, I understand like different offense, your footwork needs to change, this and that, but like 4 years in, he still like doesn't see stuff like and badly. And so that I wish was better, but overall he's fine. He's a guy you wouldn't mind having your backup because he can move it with his legs and make some plays. And if he makes enough plays, maybe you score 20 points and your defense wins the game for you.
So it's interesting that you bring up that point about processing, Mike. I was watching an ESPN segment with Dan Orlovsky talking about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and he was saying the issue he noticed with Justin Fields is that he's not trusting his eyes. Is that something you see with Trey Lance, or do you just think he still is not seeing the field?
He doesn't trust his eyes, but Justin Fields sees the field better than him too. So it's a little bit of both, but he definitely doesn't trust. I'd say 3 of those interceptions, there was wide open guys. You know, it's one thing like the play where Deuce Vaughn's open and he overthrows it. That's a footwork problem. You can look at Dak. How great he's gotten with repetition with your footwork. If you just can't see it and diagnose it, then you can't be a quarterback. That's what worries me, and he's too inconsistent doing that.
What do you think, Brendan? Is Trey Lance good enough to play in the NFL?
Right now, no. For a backup like Mike, I agree. But Trey Lance is the quarterback you throw out there when you're blowing your team out. If anything happens to Dak stubs his toe and he's like, you know what, I'm just not comfortable enough to play because that's the worst thing that could happen. That's the only bad thing that'll happen. Then you want Cooper Rush because he's not going to play. The best thing with Rush is he's not going to play that risky. He's going to be doing checkdowns. He's going to be like, they're going to be running the ball 35 plus times a game. And he's going to rely on that. He's going to rely on the defense. That's what he does. He's not going to win you game, but sometimes he doesn't lose. Sometimes he against Philly, he looks pretty bad. But other than that, no. That's the only time I want to see Trey Lance. If we're up 40-15, I'm like, you know what? Let's throw Trey Lance out there. Let's just see what he can do with it right here on some regular season snaps. Let me see what happens.
I like that. Which players earned their roster spot in Saturday's game for you, Brendan? Give us one on offense and one on defense.
I guess I feel like I love the show when we talk about these two guys a lot. It's Ryan Flournoy. He lived good against the Raiders because what he did to Jack Jones was murder.
Yeah.
And then you use the same thing with a nice deep fade route in the back of the end zone again. And no other receiver in your backups have really pushed themselves out to look like that, and he makes plays. And then Buddy Johnson. I didn't know who that guy was. Started training camp. I'm like, okay, guy named Buddy. Cool. I bet he's a really nice dude. And then he just balls out. It's just like he's right there. Of course, it's against backups, so I'm not thinking like, oh, man, we found a starter. He's not going to be anywhere near that. But he's just reading gaps, and he's just always around the ball. That's what you want to see from a guy who's going to be on special teams. Or maybe in a pinch if he has to play, he's out there.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? One on offense, one on defense. Who earned their roster spot on Saturday?
I don't really have a defensive one. I mean, you could say Julius Wood, but I don't see anybody from that game that I'm like, oh, he's on the team. Flournoy is the offensive guy, though. That catch was a NFL level wide receiver catch, getting separation, getting the ball, getting your knee down. That was a big time receiver catch. So that would be my my answer. Do you remember when we started what I had told you guys why it's okay to start? It's now 2 points.
Caitlin Clark, Mike's new favorite athlete, if you will.
She's a beast.
That's not a bad choice for a favorite athlete.
Leading the WNBA in assists, man. She's definitely as good as advertised, if not better.
She hurt her ankle, and I was like, take my ankle Saturday. I'm going through Disneyland. I don't love Caitlin that much. But Saturday, you can have my ankle as long as she's all right.
That's going to be your last Disney trip of the year, right? Until football season's over?
No,
Yeah.
we got November 4th through the 9th in Disney World. The 3rd, we play the Falcons. The 10th, we play the Eagles. So I'm safe.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Crazy timing.
Cutting
Perfect
that
timing.
close.
And I didn't plan it like that. It just happened. And, just hope for no flight delays on the 9th.
The football gods have been answering Brendan and I's prayers by you not booking and going to Disney during Cowboy season.
That's your prayers that I time it in between Cowboy games.
When you're gone, the worst. I was like, when you're gone, the worst games happen. So
they really do. It's
for real. It's pretty crazy. Mike, which players lost their roster spot in Saturday's game for you?
Probably Cropper because of Flournoy. I think if it was a 60-man roster and they could keep 7 wide receivers, I think Cropper might sneak on the roster. But it's just a numbers thing. Flournoy is a draft pick. He has a better NFL body and athletic type, and he makes more NFL type catches. So defensively, I would say if Deron Bland wasn't injured, it would probably be Andrew Booth, but they may keep him now because they need bodies there, with the way the new thing works where you could put 2 guys on IR before and they don't have to count against your 53. That's Udoga and Deron Bland, and that probably gets like Booth and Ball on your team.
Brendan, what about you? What players lost their roster spot for you on Saturday?
It's mainly the running backs. Like, I don't see them talking about how much they love Zeke. Royce Freeman's not making the roster. He's the same person. He is the exact same person. Everyone's talking about, he has less carries. Zeke is better. I'm sorry. Even a washed-up Zeke is better than Royce Freeman ever will be. And it's him and Malik Davis. If they first off, I'm speaking this into existence. Deuce Vaughn's making this roster. Deuce Vaughn is making this roster. If Malik makes it and he doesn't, I'm going to have some words on Twitter and on this show, which I will have to try to hold my tongue, but I don't think I will. He was playing so late into the game. Deuce was playing well. They're like, okay, yeah, you're done. We don't need to see any more of you. And they just kept running Royce and Malik Davis and Snoop Connor because Snoop Connor's not going to make the roster, but that's not a win or loss. We knew he wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's the 2 running backs for me.
Anybody on defense?
Not exactly. Injuries and players. The players are already cut. I was gonna say Viliami Fehoko put a nail in the coffin on that first play of defense. I love Darius Davis. I'm a TCU fan. It was cool to see him do it. I'm like, you still got the juice, but what in the hell are you doing, Fehoko? That was the worst angle I've ever seen ever. I hope you find another job. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I saw people talking about that play, and some people were saying that it was another defensive lineman, I don't remember his name, who didn't take on the right block, and that's why Viliami had that terrible play, but I didn't actually see the play. That's just what I saw people saying.
If Fehoko took the right angle, he wouldn't have been able to catch that guy. That's the problem. He just doesn't have NFL athleticism.
Well, I was just saying, but he just it looks like it was just a little effort. I know these guys have made the NFL, and also they're way better athletes than I'll ever be. So no actual crap talk, but he just the effort with the angle. If you see him take the wrong angle, you'll see big guys run all the time chasing people. If they don't catch him, darn. But seeing your defensive end / defensive tackle chase after someone shows effort and shows, it sounds cringy as hell, but heart and all that. That's what you want to see from your back end guys. They're not that talented, but they're running their asses off, going, and you're like, okay, hey, we can use that somewhere, and you just find a place. He didn't try.
Yeah. So, which lesser-known players impressed you the most so far this offseason, Brendan?
Like I said, Buddy Johnson, I didn't know who he was. Any one of the late rookie class, mainly Ryan Flournoy, but I love what Kalen Carson did. I know I'm saying lesser known because he's a 5th-round pick. I had to do more research on him. No one was talking he's like, oh, he's gonna be good later on. And then, he picked another pass off. Oh, he did it again.
Seatbelt.
And he just kept going. And then he did it against the Rams in joint practices. So it's not like, oh, you're doing it because the practice you're doing. You picked off Stafford, which people love to say that he's better than Dak. So he picked off a really great quarterback then. So, like,
one of the few players I've heard reports on all offseason, none of them have been negative about Casey Carson.
Yeah.
Mike, what about you? What lesser? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, please. I was just going to say he's been amazing.
Yeah. Same question to you. What lesser known players have impressed you the most this offseason?
I'd say the guy's got to be Julius Wood. He may have made his way onto the roster. He'd be an inactive guy, but a stash guy with this. A lot of the safeties being 1-year players. Julius Wood might make the team just so they don't throw him out there. So that would be my one. He might legitimately make the 53.
Is there a veteran that you were lower on to start the offseason that maybe has improved his stock in your eyes? One on offense, one on defense.
Okay, so a vet that
one that you were I guess you were high on, but you're kind of lower on since the start of offseason.
I was never really high on Zeke, but I'm not high on him at all right now. He just probably not. It just, if you knew like he was going to be short yardage and pass protection guy, but they keep talking like, oh yeah, Zeke's our 200 attempts guy. Like, that's just so a bad idea. Like, as bad idea gets. It's Dalvin Cook coming in for. Did they watch Dalvin Cook last year? Why is he coming in for a thing? For what? Like, what are you gonna do? If you're gonna do that, just give Deuce the ball. I don't care how small Deuce is, he will play better than Dalvin Cook will. At least Zeke has a role. Hey, give it to him around the goal line. Give it to him when it's 3rd and 2. He could do that. Put him next to Dak on 3rd and 11, and he'll help against the blitz. He has a role. You have to worry about them outpacing what his role should be. But if they keep him within his role, he could be a good player. Dalvin Cook's he's not an NFL caliber playing anymore. He was on the Jets last year. We watched him play. The year before that, we were like, oh man, he might be on the way out. And then we seen like, oh no, he's done. And now we're like, hey, let's bring him in. I'm like, bro, bring in Le'Veon Bell. But the other one that worries me is Diggs defensively, just because you can move him in slowly with Deron Bland. Hey man, let Carson get some snaps and let Izzy get some snaps out there. Let's not, play him 100% of the snaps, every game. Let's rotate him, keep him fresh the first 4 or 5 games. Let him get back, make sure he's good. Now it's like he's cornerback 1. There's no Gilly, there's no Bland. Like, he's that dude to take on the best guy every snap. And so that is worrisome. That worries me.
Interesting, man. I didn't think you'd say Diggs, but I don't hate that answer. I find it very interesting. What about you, Brendan? Same question. Which veteran maybe were you high on to start the offseason, and that's your lower on now that the offseason is come and gone?
I wouldn't necessarily say high on, because a lot of these, like, low, I would say, you talk about Zeke, so he's talking about starter, right? Like, I more like the lower tier guys. But I'm going to go, technically they're veterans now, second year players, but it's their first 2 picks from last year. That's my offense and defense. I was thinking, like, I'm hopeful. Scoot has looked better these past 2 games, but I'm like, come on, you got to show something. I'm like, you are the tight end 2 because you were drafted high. Show that you're the tight end 2 because of the reason why they drafted you. He hasn't shown it. And Mozzie, for better or for worse, he just can't be on the field. Of course, he had an allergic reaction. He can't control that at all, which it looks like he's better, which is great. But, like, it's another thing that keeps him off the field, which he needs these reps.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mozzie's a good answer too. Up and down offseason for him, and I was excited to see what he could do and with Mike Zimmer and just kind of getting a fresh start, hopefully being healthy, which unfortunately wasn't the case. But now he's kind of like, I don't know, just been inconsistent in camp, but also I don't want to say not being coachable, but seems to be having difficulty with the mental side of things. Is that accurate? Is that what you guys have heard at least?
I was in mid yawn, so give me that last little bit there again. Hey, I'm doing my best to stay awake. Okay.
No, you're
He's
good.
doing
I was
great.
just saying.
He's doing great.
With Mozzie Smith, it seems like the mental part is what's holding him back.
Well, his get off is better now. So that is a huge positive. That's the first thing you need. And then from there, I think it's the he wears down, which I think led to the DTs coming in. If you could keep Mozzie at like 20 snaps a game, I think he could be pretty impactful until he gets his conditioning. Then maybe 5-6 games in, you can ramp him up and go from there. But right now, I think it's going to be about making sure Mozzie isn't on the field 7-8 straight plays, because as he does, his technique wanes.
I got you. All right, well, let's start doing our roster projection, guys. Brendan, is the competition for QB2 over?
I don't honestly. I know as much as Jerry Jones want to talk about. I don't think it was ever there. I'm like, it's Cooper Rush, unless Trey Lance comes out and he looks. Yeah, I was like, unless he looks phenomenal, it's Cooper Rush. Like I said earlier, he barely played. The best thing you can see in preseason, other than injuries, if a player's not playing, they like that guy. And of course, they want to see all these reps from Trey Lance and all that. But I'm like, you weren't questioning anything with Cooper Rush. The deepest ball came from Cooper Rush on the first drive of the preseason to Jalen Brooks. Like, dude, the guy with a noodle arm threw better than your quarterback who looks like he can throw over a mountain.
Yeah. Mike, I know you kind of answered this question already, but you didn't really think there ever was a competition, right?
No, and it closed. Even if there was a slight one, it closed the minute he hit Brooks deep, and then Trey Lance came out and did what he did against the Rams. The minute that at like halftime of the Rams game, it was basically like, yeah, Cooper Rush is QB2, like locked in.
Is time running out on Trey Lance to develop as anything more than a backup?
Yeah. He's still young, but he's not young. He's going to be, this is fourth year. Somebody, next year, somebody's going to pay him to be a backup. He's not going to get nobody's going to put him in the Raiders like Gardner Minshew. He's not going to get that opportunity. So there's only so many reps he can get in real games. And what he needs is like UFL, play 3 seasons in the UFL and get every snap, start on one of those teams and just play all the time, as much as you can, even at that level. And then see if you develop enough where you can come up when you're 26, 27, 28 years old and get a Geno Smith-like start somewhere. Yeah.
You talked about the running back earlier, Ezekiel Elliott. How many running backs do you think the Cowboys will carry, Mike?
I got Lipke. We're keeping it as a running back, the fullback.
Yeah.
Deuce, Rico, Zeke. That's my 4.
Deuce, I love it. Brendan, what about you? Is that the same 4 you got?
Wouldn't change a thing. Would not change a thing.
So did Deuce Vaughn show enough to earn a roster spot for you, Brendan?
Oh, yeah. His yards per carry. He did well last preseason. It's insane. I know this against backups and all that, so I don't expect him to have like 8 yards a carry. Like, that's absolutely nuts. But every time he got the ball, he made a play. Like, of course, you can make you see what happens when they actually have a scheme for him instead of be late end of the game, they're trying to chew the clock. You see what happens? Oh, we're not going to run him up the middle 4 times and just punt the ball. We're going to see him trying to get him out in space. We're going to get the lineman out where he actually sees a hole. You see, like, it works. He's a nice change of pace back because he's got the most juice out of anyone else on this roster. Well, running back wise.
Get him one-on-one in space. That's what you have to do.
So, Mike, based on the running backs you think are the Cowboys will carry, it sounds like Deuce earned a roster spot in your eyes as well.
Yeah, I think so. If they cut him, I get it. I just wouldn't because I'm looking to get that juice. I seen Sproles stink for 2 years and then become a near Hall of Fame type. So give me the guy that I know can run that has juice. I don't care what his size is.
Yeah, dude. Do you think the Cowboys are done adding running backs to the team, Mike?
They're bringing in Dalvin Cook tomorrow. Le'Veon Bell and Frank Gore could come in next week. Curtis Martin.
God.
Hey, Frank Gore, I bet somehow still has something in the tank because he ran for years.
I would take him over. I'm not going to say Ezekiel Elliott because I love Ezekiel Elliott.
Just say Cook. Just say
definitely
Cook.
Over Dalvin Cook. Jesus, what are we doing?
Frank Gore Jr. had himself quite a day. I believe it was yesterday or Saturday. He might be making the Buffalo Bills roster. It looks like.
Bills. That's where he went. Play behind James Cook.
What do you think, Brendan? I know we know Dalvin Cook's coming in, but do you think the Cowboys are actually still looking for their starting running back?
No. Zeke's late end contract when he got cut. It was so the money he's making now. You know how the Joneses are. They don't care how talented you are now. If you're a ragged body, man, we're paying you that much money. You're getting out there, whether we want you to or not. So it's Zeke. There's not going to add anyone. They might. I was like, oh, we could trade for. I can't say like the Jets running back name. It's Israel. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. I just didn't want to say that and absolutely just like butcher. So like they're like, oh, we should trade for him. He might get cut. And then he has a touchdown. I'm like, Dallas isn't giving up any more draft picks. I don't see him doing it. Sorry.
Brian Broaddus talks a lot about Khalil Herbert being a potential.
I would like that.
If the Bears cut him, he'd be by a lot our best back. By a leap, he would be our best back.
I wouldn't mind seeing that because I like what I've seen from Khalil Herbert when he's gotten an opportunity. Brendan, you look at these wide receivers after CeeDee Lamb, thank God, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, and Devontae Turpin. Which receiver or receivers do you think will make the team?
I'll get to that in a second. It's just I like us for all to like just exhale. CeeDee Lamb has a 4-year deal. Mike's rocking it out, which I love the idea of it. Like I told him, if anything Ferg related happened, I will go run to my closet real fast and I will put that on. But it's just it happened. I guess like we talked about earlier, I'm not happy, just relieved. You have your all-pro receiver back, which shouldn't have even been a question. He's 25 years old, doing what he did last year. He's back. Okay, so back to the question. Sorry, I just want to be happy with my all-pro.
Hey, Brendan, if Dalvin Cook gets signed, just put on that Tony Dorsett jersey because he could come in and do basically as well.
That's awesome. But no, so the answer is behind Turpin, I think your fifth receiver, they'll switch out because Turpin's more of a gadget guy, but it'd be Jalen Brooks. He's easily won that roster spot at wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. And like we talked about earlier, it's Flournoy. He put himself so far ahead of any other receiver. Did any other receivers score this preseason? I don't really believe so.
Maybe Baby Billy Johnson.
Maybe I don't believe so because we had his rushing touchdown, then we had the 2 fade routes. I don't think we really scored. Well, we had INTs and stuff. I don't think wide receivers have really scored.
Yeah, you're right. Because we didn't score a touchdown against the Rams.
Yeah, it's Flournoy. Like he's improved. That's what we wanted though. The draft pick hasn't really done much in camp. He got hurt. I'm like, oh no. It's like, who are we going to go to back? I know it doesn't mean much on the back end of receiver, but like, who are we going to have for depth? And then he just finally came out in the preseason and he showed what he needed to, that he still has speed from the combine and he can get shifty against some starting corners.
Yeah.
The porn stash.
Mike, what about you? You have the same guys?
The porn stash agreed.
I like it. I know Brendan's looking forward to this question, but Jake Ferguson is tight end 1. Who are tight end 2 and tight end 3 for you, Mike?
Scooney, just on draft status alone, is easily tight end 2. And then, I think in a hopes that he bounces back from injury, Stevens Jr. makes it. I think he's going to be the 3rd. But the way he's played, I can understand, if they do the injury scare thing, like, hey, he don't look the same. If somebody wants to pick him up, they could take him, and they try to get him to the practice squad. But I think Stevens Jr. is your 3rd.
Brendan, what about you? You have anything different there?
It's not Peyton Hendershot, Mike. It's not Peyton Hendershot.
No.
If y'all learned from last week, me and Mike just forgot him as a human being. We were talking about how bad the depth of tight end.
He played. He had like a catch in this last game. I was like, "What's he doing?"
I know. I was so confused, and then you said that, and like everything just like dawned on me. I'm like, oh,
he's gonna be on a practice squad. Watch.
Yeah, it might be Brevin Spanford because he like blocking wise, I don't think he's shown nearly enough to. John Stevens at least shown he can like get open and with routes, but I'm scared with John Stevens' size. He looks like he's just like a really tall receiver. That's what he looks like to me. And I don't know if you want your third tight end to only be a receiving tight end. But right now it should be Stevens. But I wouldn't be shocked with Brevin Spanford either.
Trey Lance's best throw was that seam throw to Stevens.
That he fumbled.
That friggin' did you see the line on that kid? He's old now, but Tony Jefferson, 14 tackles, a sack, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble. That is nuts in a preseason game.
That's cheating. That's cheating.
He was player of the week. Like
that's Madden numbers right there.
Yeah, that was insane.
That's a very familiar name. He's been around the league for a little while now, right?
Yeah, Tony.
A long while. He retired, and then he's coming back. This is his comeback to the NFL. That's why I said it's cheating.
We're trying him out at running back this coming up week. When he gets cut, he's gonna come in and try out at running back for us. So that should be interesting.
How would y'all feel? A serious question. I just thought about this, but what if Trey Lance were to take on like a Taysom Hill type role? Would y'all want to keep him around for a little while in this offense?
He is going to be the quarterback 3. He's going to be here.
No, but he's talking about like would he like do like a crazy tight
lining
end
up a
or would he
lining up as a running back and using him as a red zone weapon.
What you would do then is you would make him QB2 and make Rush the emergency QB, and you would do it that way, and then he would get a role like that. I don't think, no offense, because I'm a big fan of Mike McCarthy, but I don't think Mike McCarthy is that creative. Exactly, he doesn't want to take the ball out of his all-pro quarterback's hands, and I understand that.
Yeah, that's why I said in this offense.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Brendan? Not in this offense, but any other offense?
No, he's too skinny. Like Taysom Hill is like that dude that will get hit and he'll just pop up like nothing happened. Yeah. I don't want to see some of the hits Taysom Hill had go to Trey Lance. I feel like this would be a crime.
Well, looking at the offensive line, was the offensive line the easiest position group to evaluate and make cuts for, Brendan?
There's other. I feel a lot of positions were easier. Like we talked about receiver, and running back was probably one of the hardest ones because we didn't know who was going to take the RB3 role. But offensive line was quite easy for the simple fact of, first off, injuries that made things 10 times easier. But like players that you didn't expect to do that well, like Asim Richards looked good. Awesome Richards looked good. Josh Ball went from everybody hates you. Why are you anywhere near this? Seems like. You'll be on the back end of the 53.
He's gonna
and then, of course TJ Bass, it just stays good. That's such a great depth piece, and of course Hoffman as well. You have a great interior. So I would say it's one of the bigger, easier groups, but I think there's a whole bunch of groups that were easy.
What about you, Mike?
I actually had the opposite of Brendan. I thought running back was the easiest because like we're not going to play Zeke. Rico had like 2 carries the whole preseason.
Also the third role.
Yeah, and then Hunter Lemke was a lock. So you're just talking about the rest of these guys are just going for the final spot. So it was kind of like, okay, which one of these other guys, Connor, Deuce, Freeman, which one of these guys makes that 4th spot? So I was like, that's really all you had to watch. You didn't have to like. Offensive line, you're kind of like, okay, Noah Doga, who the hell are they moving out to left tackle? Defensive line, they had to bring other people in, and linebacker had Demo get injured, and they're rotating people and bringing people in. And I think corner was pretty simple too. Like you know, they had the hierarchy in corner. You knew early what Carson was.
Caitlin Clark was out there.
Caitlin Clark.
Dude, she was playing corner. That's
Somebody's
crazy.
got Caitlin on the mind. She's a beast, dude. She's so fun to watch play basketball. But yeah, it's I would say offensive line was in the top 5 easiest. Like Brendan said, because of injury. But I think running back was easier for me because it basically came down to one spot.
I was looking who was competing with Deuce, and so my brain was like, all right, so are they going to think that play is better than what Deuce just did 2 drives ago? So you just got to keep thinking of that.
It'll be if Fossil fights for Malik Davis to be on the
I'd be livid.
Special teams. That would be he likes Malik Davis on special teams, and Royce Freeman is a very, very good special teams player. So it'll be up to, like, if Mike McCarthy goes, look, we need a juice guy. We got to have Deuce. We'll work out the special teams. Or if he's like, we got our running backs. The 4th one is yours. Who do you want on your special teams? So that'll kind of determine it.
How many offensive linemen do you think the Cowboys will carry?
I put – where did I have that? Oh, right here. I had 9. So the starting 5, Asim Richards, TJ Bass, Hoffman, and then Ball would be the other one. The way Ball played, I never thought I'd say that going into this year, but you got to take in development. Like he can play left tackle, left guard, right tackle if he plays like he did in the preseason at an average, adequate level to not be Chaz Green. You know, so that's all you can ask for around the all pros that we have.
Is that what you have as well, Brendan? 9?
Yeah. I would rather, whenever Edoga gets back from IR, I'd rather have Ball.
That's a take.
I'd rather have Ball.
That's a take.
Over who?
Over Edoga.
We all know how much you love Edoga, Brendan.
Oh, I'm the biggest. I mean, do you all not see his jersey back there? Oh, that's weird.
All right, so same question about the evaluating and making cuts for, but for the defensive line group, what was it? How was this for you, Brendan? Was this pretty easy?
Yeah, like Mike said, they had to add players.
Yeah.
With injury, it sucked. Like Marshawn Nealon looked great. D-Law and Micah didn't have to do anything because they're your stars. Like they didn't have to do anything. Osa didn't have to do anything because he's your 3 tech. But they had to add, which I'm so happy about, defensive tackles. If they did this, like the moves they made now, and they did that in April, honestly, this fan base would talk with their front office just a little bit different, to be honest. Because like Carl Lawson could have some juice as long as he's out of 72. That is gross. That should be illegal, and they should all feel bad for what they did to him. But no, Feijoko's gone. Huggins might have fought himself back, but after him pushing that coach, that volunteer in joint practice, that was stupid. You already know. I bet you easily know you're starting and then your depth rules.
Chauncey Golston, do you think he's somebody who might get cut?
No, I because of it is flexibility. I know Mike Zimmer's different, but like Dallas Cowboys isn't like as a franchise, they love the guys that are, hey, this week you're playing defensive tackle. Hey, no, you're going to defensive end. It looks like Chauncey's going to get the whole Tyron Crawford treatment. Hey, can you gain some weight to play defensive tackle? Actually, not. Hey, no, these 2 games you got to play defensive end. My bad, dude. And you're going to keep going back and forth.
Yeah, the Tyron Crawford of this generation. I love that. Love that comparison. I know, Mike, you said that the defensive line was kind of easy for you, so we'll move on to this next question. And are the Cowboys linebackers the group you're most excited for in 2024?
O-line would be mine. And then it would be, how the hell is he going to play those 4 safeties? You have to find time for Bell. They put Bell out there in the preseason because he played middle linebacker last year. So you need it. Hey, we got to get you out here and get you snaps back at safety in our system. And him, Wanye, Malik Hooker, and Dono people are again sleeping on Donovan Wilson. He is going to be a disgusting monster in this defense if he's healthy. He is going to cause turnovers. He is going to be a blitzer. He is going to be a problem. And so I love that. And then linebackers would be third. And of course, because I have my guy Overshown, like the guy I went way out above, best defensive player in the draft before Dallas even drafted him. So he was my guy before he ended up on Dallas. So yeah, that would be my third.
Brendan, what about you? Where does the linebacker group, as far as excitement, rank for you?
They're pretty high. I only want to say D-line just because I really want to see what Nealon does and what his role is. But no, linebackers are up there because that is a slept-on group. I didn't know much about. We've talked about I didn't know much about Maurice Leofau coming out of the draft. I didn't. I'm still learning how to scout and all that. So that's very, very I know basic things. So I didn't know anything about him. He, like we talked about last week, he plays with his hair on fire. Like he's running around, just I'm gonna hit you. And you're it's either that or bust. And how he just threw Jalen Tolbert to the ground on that one camp clip was awesome. He's like, you're a receiver. Why are you here? Throw. And then of course you have Overshown, which thank God, as soon as he showed any type of hey, I'm a little hurt, you're done. Bubble wrap. I was honestly so happy about that from the coaching staff. And then you have Eric Kendricks, who's made a lot of plays in camp. And so he looks like he's going to be the leader, which Leighton Vander was good, but, of course, knock on wood, Kendrick stays healthy. He'll be better than what Leighton Vander has ever been. Well, not ever been. That 1 year in 2018 was great, but as a leader-wise. And then Clark can finally run around. He can finally use his athleticism, which is the reason why he got drafted, and he gets to show. Linebacker is fun. Like I said, I just loved what I saw from Marshawn Nealon, so I want to see more. But no, linebackers are fun this year. I'm actually excited.
Yeah, sticking with this linebacker group, outside of the big four, Kendricks, Clark, Overshown, and Leofau, which linebackers do you think will make the cut, Brendan?
It's Buddy Johnson. I liked, who's that linebacker from the Chiefs that made plays in the back end of the game? I tweeted about him. His name was Dontavian and then something. My bad. He was making plays. It's Buddy Johnson, though. Willie Harvey was probably inching in a little bit. Buddy Johnson was everywhere, like I said earlier. He was a lot of fun to watch in the preseason when sometimes the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. He was out there at least trying his best, and it was fun.
Mike, how about you? Outside of the big four, is it also Buddy Johnson for you?
I think the DeMarvion Overshown hip pointer injury will either limit or keep him out for week 1 against Cleveland. And because of that, I believe that all three will end up on the game day roster. Harvey obviously cut. Practice squad call up would be my bet. And then Buddy Johnson and Nick Vigil make the team, and they're on the active list as well, just to make sure you don't go in with just Leofau, Kendricks, Clark as your three. So I think all three of those guys will end up on the team, even though we know Harvey's got to get to practice squad now.
Based on camp reports, I'd be shocked if Nick Vigil didn't make the 53-man roster. Am I wrong for that?
No, not at all. That's why Harvey was gone right away. Harvey got cut right away because the real battle was Vigil and Buddy Johnson. And Buddy's on. So, it'll be, will Vigil make it?
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of touched on this earlier, Brendan, talking about the defensive line, but the Cowboys made a lot of sneaky moves, man, towards the end of the offseason to add depth to defensive line and linebackers, two position groups that I know Cowboys Nation and we were all concerned about. I don't know if we can call them strengths yet, but you feel a lot better today than you did, 2 months ago.
Oh my gosh, yes. Are you that's not even a question. You had Osa and Mozzie, and you had no one. You were okay, so if they get tired, are we going to try to throw DeMarcus Lawrence at defensive tackle, or are we going to try to throw someone out there just to do something? Hey, you got a big 3-tech, and then you got the guy, Lynn Paul Joseph, the Cowboys Nation has been wanting for, I don't even know how many years. As long as I've been, as long as I've really been focusing, everyone's like, hey, we got to get him. I'm like, we're not going to pay him. But just bigger guys that have shown that they can do something. They're not going to be stars. And I haven't even talked about Carl Lawson yet, but they're not going to be stars. But they're guys that can show up, which besides Hankins, Dallas hasn't had. And then Carl Lawson, as soon as he gets out of 72, He's gonna be a playmaker. He's gonna be great. No, but like he would be a guy. You lose Sam Williams, which sucks, but you have him. You have more guys who can actually contribute. I don't think he's gonna do crazy anything like, oh my gosh, he has 6 sacks in the year. No, but can you give me 2 and just a decent pressure rate? That's a win.
Yeah. I was pretty excited to see what Chauncey Golston might do with the additional reps and maybe some more playing time, but I don't know if they just didn't really care for what they saw in camp, and that's why they added bodies to the defensive line, but I'm kind of bummed about that.
They like him as an edge-setting DN, but that can move inside, but they'd rather have him, hey, you're going to be a defensive end that we can move in like we do Tank and like we're going to do Nealon. But playing as like the 3 technique, he just wasn't holding up well enough.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I know after he was came in as a defensive end and gained the weight, like Brendan mentioned earlier, and just kind of a yo-yo type of career so far for Chauncey Golston. But like I said, I was just hoping to see him do something, if anything. Going back to the secondary here, of course, the Deron Bland injury hurts the team overall. But is there a corner or another player that might benefit from Bland's injury, Mike?
Booth. Like I said earlier, Booth might have got cut if it wasn't for that injury. So you got to give him that. He's going to be the one. And, I mean, if Carson starts, obviously you're a rookie starting. You're benefiting. But is he really benefiting? Would it be better if he was like, hey, we're teaching you on the side. We'll bring you in some plays for Diggs. Now you throw him out to the Wolves. You never know. You know how Dallas is. They eat you alive. Mozzie Smith is a bust already. When you're into a career where almost everybody at that position plays like crap their first year. But you hear it when you're here. So if Carson gets out there and Amari Cooper goes for 2 touchdowns on him, oh, see, training camp guy, he's no good. You know, he sucks. When's Bland coming back? You know how it is.
Yeah, what about you, Brendan? Is Andrew Booth the guy you think benefits the most from Bland's injury, or is it somebody else?
Andrew Booth, no, he easily, like, it helps. I think it's Izzy. People were questioning him, like, because they're talking about, like, we talked about earlier, the safety depth is insane. We're talking about 4, and then Julius Wood can make it 5 safeties that can make plays on the ball. And so, okay, so we got to carry 5 safeties. So you're going to go weak somewhere else because, you know, they might play big nickel, and so they'll have 2 safeties out there. But Izzy might actually get playing time now. And I'd say more than half of the Cowboy Nation really wanted, because he had that good playoff game against Tom Brady, and then the Cowboys, the coaching staff just hasn't played him really since.
Yeah.
So now he might actually have a role for at least the first 3 or 4 weeks of the year.
So I know we talked about Andrew Booth, you know, being the player that might benefit the most from this Bland injury, but in terms of how it affects the secondary, in terms of just trimming the roster, is there maybe another position group that might get another body that originally might not have before the Bland injury, Mike?
No, they have too many. I have them with 11 DBs. They just have too many DBs that they want to, like, not expose. And then CJ Goodwin's their special teams ace. So even if he's cut and brought to the practice squad and brought up, after 3 games, they're going to have to bring him up. You know, so he's going to be on there at some point. So, you know, by they'll have 10, 11 guys depending on how CJ Goodwin works out.
All right. With the you talked about the wealth of talent the Cowboys have in their secondary, Mike, you know, alluding to carrying 11 guys. Is that how many you think that's your magic number right there? Is it that 11?
Yeah, I mean, it could be 10. They could tell CJ Goodwin, hey, we're going to cut you. You know the drill. We'll pay you to be on the practice squad. We'll bring you up 3 games, and then you'll be on the roster depending on if there was an injury or some way we can maneuver something. But I expect him to be on the team, so I just have him on the team, 11 guys, more than likely.
Is that your magic number as well, Brennan, or 11, or is it less?
Yeah. I know. I think it's around them because that means you have 5 safeties, and that means Julius Wood made the roster. I've never seen a player that go from, I don't know who you are, to like, oh, shoot, he got another pick. He did it again. Like I said, he's always just, I'm not going to say like Johnny on the spot. I'm way too young to be saying that. I felt awful just saying that. But like, he's just a right place, right time kind of guy. Tip drill right there. Cool. I'll take it. Which is sometimes unique because some DBs just it sounds weird, but afraid of the ball. And so that makes us more excited.
I hear you. Name a player you think people will be surprised to make the team. Give us one on offense and defense, Brendan.
Surprising? I don't feel like there is that many anymore. I guess on offense, I would say Malik Davis. I feel like that would surprise. Like I said, that would make me throw up inside. I'm gonna have to do there's so many memes I could send out for that, which I'll be ready to. And defense wise, there's not many because I feel like we've talked about a lot of the guys, and I don't think there would be any surprise because it'll be like happy additions. Nick Vigil makes the team. And he doesn't make the team. Oh, darn! But I thought he looked good. Izzy makes the team. Yeah, that's awesome. And it gets kind of like, oh darn, who do we have to keep for him to say that? But I can keep talking about Julius Wood, but I'm not going to anymore. But it's just so many people we know that have shown potential that people will be happy about. We're top end. Are we as talented as our teams in the past? I don't believe so. But our depth wise, this is one of the better times I've seen it in years.
I'd agree with that. Mike, did you have anything to add to that?
Do you mean surprising like John owning one of us, or do you mean just a casual fan of the Cowboys?
Do John owning, since I think Brendan got the other Cowboys fan base covered, if you will.
I don't think there will be one for a fan that follows. I think Josh Ball would surprise people. But people that know he was the highest rated offensive lineman through 2 weeks of the preseason aren't going to be like, oh, wow, he made the team. I can't believe it. So that would be the offensive guy. Defensive guy, probably Nick Vigil, because guys wouldn't know his name, but not, John owning us. We've talked about it on the podcast. We've already said, oh, yeah, this guy's probably going to be on there, So it wouldn't be a surprise to us. But to the fan that just kind of clicks over and is like, did they sign Dak or what's going on? Oh, CD's there. Oh, good. That's good. We needed him. That type of thing that they would be like Nick Vigil and Josh Ball. How'd they make the team?
I thought one of you guys might say Deuce Vaughn, honestly.
He's not going to be a surprise.
I don't think it'd be a big shock.
Yeah.
They protect their draft. It's the one guy in your room that has juice. You're trying to play him as a returner on special teams. He is a good chance he makes it.
Talking about draft class, man, this draft class looks like it could compete with that 2021 draft class. Maybe better.
It's so good. It's so good.
It looks really good.
Yeah, pretty crazy, man. And what's funny is, we weren't picking nearly as high in the rounds or anything. So the fact that we got these guys in the top 5 picks could all be starters this year is crazy.
If Overshown doesn't play, you could have 5 starting. You could have Guyton, Nealon, BB, Marist, and Carson all start week 1.
It's insane, man. Name a player you think people will be surprised to get cut, Mike? One on offense, one on defense.
Well, they probably hear Cooper Rush got cut and be like, "What? Mm-hmm. Cooper Rush got cut?" But it would be like for the practice squad maneuvering BS. And then CJ Goodwin would be the same thing. He'd be a practice squad cut guy that would just be brought back up. He'd be brought back because teams can't claim them; they're veterans.
But do you have any surprising cuts for you, Brendan?
Offensively, no. Not really, but I said this last week. I just want to say this. I want to see your reaction. Mine's not a cut; it's a trade. And like I said, I'd be upset if this happens. But if Marquise Bell got traded, I'm like, because your safety room is so talented.
Don't even put that in the air, bro.
I'm just saying, you're that talented. You have that deep of a group, and he is a free agent after this year.
Yeah,
possible.
And I think I'd rather see Malik Hooker get traded, but. When we talked about that, I think Mike brought up a good point, saying he's really our only true free safety. So that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, Wanye could do it, but I don't know if he'd do it at the level of Hooker.
Yeah. Which 3 players make your roster wish list, Brendan?
Oh well, I feel like maybe I've talked about some people today. I don't know. But it's Deuce. That's the number one for my
Yeah.
team. My fantasy team last year was Deuce is loose. So I was going to say I've been on this for a little bit, and
Yes,
it's
sir.
Julius Wood just because you can't have them too many ball hawks. You can have that. Yeah, it's either I'm going to say Buddy Johnson because he has a better chance of getting cut. Guy like Buddy Johnson really has shown me stuff this year. Like it could be Flournoy, but I don't think he doesn't make this roster. There's no way they don't hold 6. But no, it's gonna be Deuce, Julius Wood, Buddy Johnson.
Mike, what about you? Who's on your roster wish list?
Deuce, Flournoy, and Rogers. 2 offensive guys, a defensive tackle. Big bodies. Keep the big body guy in there. I don't want to lose him.
Mike, in all your years of doing this, was this one of the easier years to project the 53-man roster?
Yeah, but it's because they put in so many, like, it would have been tougher if you had to get Bland and Adoga on the roster. Where this year, you don't have to do that, With the veteran cuts, I know, like, there's a good possibility Rush, Anger, Sieg, CJ Goodwin are all for sure cut and brought back on the practice squad, and it wouldn't shock me if they did it to Ezekiel Elliott too. Hey, we're going to bring you back. Just go here so we can keep this guy type of thing, so that because of those abilities to do that, it makes the 53-man easier to negotiate.
Gotcha. Brendan, who are your 3 players you are on your practice squad wish list? If you have any, if you don't, it's no work.
I'd say I don't have much. I like Kelvin Harmon. I liked what he was able to do with some errant throws from Trey Lance. That's where I want to see Malik Davis. That's where you can call him up for the practice squad for special teams. Do that. Don't take my small king away from me. And honestly, I guess it depends on where they go with tight end, but I would like Brevin Spanford or John Stevens, whoever doesn't make the roster, because Brevin Spanford got money. So the Cowboys like what they saw in college. I don't think he really showed enough to make the team, but he has potential there to be your blocking tight end. He's also 6'7". So you can bring some packages in for that, but I'd give him a year. But so it'll be those 3.
I must have missed his contract because all I hear about is how much they paid him. That's how much they like him. What is Spansford getting paid?
That's like $230 or $50K guaranteed.
Yeah, $250,000.
That's obviously a lot for an undrafted free agent, like guaranteed wise.
Correct. Yeah, it was the highest of this undrafted free agent season.
Oh wow, okay. So Mike, what about you? Do you have any players on your practice squad wish list that you're hoping don't get poached after being cut?
Cropper, Fresno State, Jalen Cropper.
Oh, that's a good one.
Definitely. And then the 2 tight ends, whatever. I'm assuming it's Fant and Spanford. I want both of those to stay because behind Fergie, I don't guarantee to have anything, so I want the options.
When you look at Flournoy and Copper, what are their differences, and what do you like about each one of those guys, Mike?
Flournoy has the NFL body and athleticism. Yeah. So Cropper's very limited to, I got to play in this. I'm slot guy, maneuver, get open in the slot type of player, which is important and effective. Yeah. Flournoy is like, I'm an NFL wide receiver. Like I have a chance to be a wide receiver 1 in this league. When you have his size, his RAS score was like 9.85. Like he's as crazy as you could get, like as good as you could ask, size and athleticism. So now, can we train you into a good receiver? And when I see him eat alive a starting cornerback on a fake slant fade route, and then the catch he made against who they just played, the Chargers, was even better. Because the one thing you got the guy to guess, it's a preseason game. He probably went to try to make a play like an interception. Didn't work out for him. Guy gets a wide open fade. Who cares? He's starting anyway. The next play, he had to double move the guy to get to his outside shoulder, use his hands a little bit to just create separation. It wasn't a push off where you get a penalty, but just enough, and then catch it looking over like this with the guy right there and have the awareness to get your knee down inbounds. That is good NFL football play. That's not like like we saw from Cropper. What we saw from Cropper was nice training camp football. Oh, good. He looks good. I'd like to get him on the roster, see what he can do, develop him. Flournoy was like, I'm making NFL plays right now, and you know I'm an NFL athlete already. So that's where you look and go, oh, this guy could develop into something. So you want to keep that. So that's the difference. One guy, if he develops into everything he possibly could be a wide receiver 1 on a team. The other guy, if he develops into everything, he's like a Hunter Renfrow type, like Cole Beasley. Good wide receivers. You need them on the team, but they're never considered a top threat. They're just a guy who plays around in the middle, makes plays for you, important, but not stealing top-wise.
Flournoy, could he potentially be our wide receiver 2 in 2025, you think?
Too early. My bet would be 2026 would be more that range, which is fine because Jalen Tolbert looks like he could be a wide receiver 2, but not the type of player you'd pay.
Yeah.
So it transitions right into Flournoy, and those guys giving you that few years allows you to find somebody in the draft to pair with, because you're going to want to use a high draft pick. You look at your offensive line's pretty set. You look at your defensive line, they're probably not going to go DT again. They got Nealon and Parsons. Wide receiver is going to be, if Carson's a guy, you got Carson's Diggs. So you look at your the way they draft. We want our offensive tackles. We want wide receiver. We want corner. We want edge. Wide receiver's the next guy. And you've seen them when they had Cooper and Gallup go get Lamb. And so I think that's going to be a thing. You're even if Flournoy develops into that dude, before that happens, they're going to be looking to draft another dude. And then if you get Flournoy to hit, now you're a Super Bowl offense.
I got you. All right, Mike, here's your views from the sidelines. Does the addition of Linval Joseph hurt or help the development of Mozzie Smith?
Okay, it helps him because it lowers his snaps, which I think is key right now. And it gives him time to learn the position back the way Mike Zimmer wants him to do it. Basically, now it sucks because he's a first-round pick, but the first year was a red shirt. It was a wash. Yeah. He was losing weight, learning a Dan Quinn system, trying to become an upfield player, and now he's back to like, you're just clogging shit up. Like we want your speed. At times it's going to work out, but job one is just clog shit up. And then we'll worry about that other bullshit. The unimportant bullshit will come after that. And so, yeah, I think it helps because if people think Linval Joseph's coming in and playing 20, 25 plays, you lost your mind. They're each going to have like a cap of 20. Like that's going to, when it's run down defense, they're going to be the guys, say 15 to 20 apiece, and then Tank and Nealon and Golston and all those guys are going to rotate in on pass rush downs. And Mozzie will probably get a few of those. Also, Phillips will probably move to a pass rush one technique on a few plays. So it just limits his snaps and allows him to be like a relief pitcher. Hey, you're the closer. Throw it 100 miles per hour for every pitch you can because you're only throwing 20 to 25 pitches max.
I got you. I like that. Brendan, here you are with Brendan's Bashing roster edition. Bashed a player who had one job to do or an easy path to make the team, but face planted.
I've already talked about him, but I'm going to do it again because I like beating a dead horse. It's Viliami Fehoko. They don't like, well, you can say for Eric Scott too, they don't like cutting their draft picks a year or 2 years in. They don't. Because they look like, oh, wow, we just didn't know on this pick. He was just that bad. Him and Eric Scott got, I'm sorry, I'm going to combine because it's just that last year's class was just awful. Like, they did nothing. Eric Scott had that one pick against the Rams and whatever. It was gifted to him because that's what Stetson Bennett was doing. Everybody gets a pick. And then Eric Scott had a good breakup or whatever against the Chargers late in the game. Fehoko didn't try. I think he had one tackle. I'm like, oh, hey, he's right there. Only time I talked about him. They just did nothing. I'm like, y'all are seen as from the scouting department like, hey, you could be guys on this team. Dan Quinn needs to go pick up his kids. I'm sorry, I got this completely from Tom Downey. I got that joke from Tom Downey, so I'm gonna quote him. Like, come pick up your kids. It's over. Like, they're gonna sign to Washington's practice squad. Calling it now, and I'm like, oh, it's normal. It's fine. Just like everything was intended. They're terrible, and if they made this roster, I'd have been upset.
All right, here we are with over under. I have this as Kalen Carson starting 12 games, but I'll change it now on the spot here. Jalen Tolbert, 600 receiving yards, over under Brendan.
I'm going to say under, not because he underperformed, but I'm saying that means his connection with Brandon Cooks is better than it was last year because we saw it got better later on in the year. And it also means Ferg took another step to be the dominant tight end that we all know we can.
Same.
Over under.
The porn stash agrees.
I'm on it tonight. I'm on it tonight, man.
Ferg and Tolbert will be getting targets before Ferg and
Cooks
before Tolbert.
Yeah. All right, here we're on the top 5. Excuse me. Tonight's top 5 category: foods we can eat the most of. Mike, give us number 5 on your list.
Y'all are killing me with this hour. And I slept 2.5 hours, man. This is a struggle.
This is your fault. You've been talking a lot too.
Chicken wing, I put as 1. There's specific sauces I like, sweet, spicy type, but and chicken wings are bone in, but I eat boneless too. Call them nuggets, whatever, insult them. I don't care. If they have good sauce on them, give me the chicken with the good sauce, and I'll eat them. And yeah, I get put down a lot of those.
Brendan, how about you? Number 5 on your list.
My number 5 is pork chops.
Oh,
I love me some nice crisp pork chops. Honestly, my mom looks at me like I try to amp her up. Her pork chops are the best thing she's ever made. And I tell her that every time. She gets pissed off every time she makes it because it takes so much effort. They're so good. They're so darn good, and I can eat them any day of the week. Protein, breading's great, and you can add whatever you want on top of it, and you're just cooking.
Do you dip your crispy pork chops in ketchup?
No.
Oh, thank you.
What? Who does that?
No, people do because it's like breaded. It's like
I was going to say, I thought Paul's hand was about to slowly go up. I'm like, no.
No. Not that big of a ketchup guy outside of fries, but what do you have? What is your preferred dipping sauce for pork chops?
It's not really dipping. It's like pork chop. I have mashed potatoes and stuff. It's just one of those type of meals. Yeah. I
gotcha. All right, number 5 on my list, I'm going to go with freshly baked chocolate chip cookies. They're so gooey and sometimes they're not they haven't hardened yet, so you can just grab 2 of them and roll them into a ball and eat 2 that quickly. But yeah, freshly baked chocolate chip cookies are so dangerous, man.
I didn't go desserts.
That was legit one of the, and I am a fat person. That was legit one of the fattest things I've ever heard. Roll the 2 cookies to eat. I
didn't say I do. I said you could.
Roll them together. Hurry up. Dip them in milk. Take some time. Roll them together so I can shove 2 of them in my face as fast as possible.
He was speaking from experience.
That's awesome. If I wasn't diabetic, chocolate chip cookies would have made my life.
I didn't even go desserts. I eat like a fat person, and I didn't even go desserts, dude. I'm pissed.
I feel like candy and stuff like that is the easiest stuff to consume in mass quantity.
Diabetes. I cannot if I talk about eating it in mass quantity, I might fall over.
I've been losing weight, so I've been trying to eat better. You know how hard it is to eat bad for 21 years of your life and just try to shut it down? Do you know how hard that is? I eaten the worst ever.
Your metabolism, you young little shit.
My genetics
are metabolism so good you can eat whatever the hell you want now.
I'm not one of those, dude. My genetics suck.
Mine too. I'm all belly. I hate it. Why do you think the angle is like this? Cut it off.
All right, number 4 on my list, gummy candies. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Lifesaver Collisions, the soft gummy candies, but stuff like that, man. I can eat if I'm at the movie theater watching a movie, just go through a whole bag without even thinking twice about it.
I'm so upset right now.
I hate it. Diabetes.
I'm so upset right now that I didn't go desserts. I was just thinking normal food. I'm so upset.
Well, if you change your list, something on your list at the last moment, no worries. What's number 4 on your list, Brendan?
No, I like my list too much, but like if I had to think about it, desserts wouldn't make it on here. I put more chicken in general, but I put mainly wings. Like I love the dry hot honey wings from Wingstop. That stuff is so good. Like my gosh, but I put like fried chicken because like Babes is also great, but my main was mainly fried chicken.
It's a good one.
Mike, what about you? Number 4 on your list.
Tempura veggies with the tensuya dipping sauce. So good. Tensuyu.
I can't wait to hear Paul's after that one.
and I love, like, I don't really dig the onion ones or the shrimp ones. They're okay. They're fine. But like the orange, sweet potato or carrot, zucchini, broccoli, all day.
Yeah, the stuff they when I go eat hibachi, like there's this Emperor's meal that me and my wife will share, and it comes with a tempura little platter. And the sweet potato is like low key, probably the best one on there.
Legend, easily.
All right, Mike, number 3 on your list.
Number 3, potato skins, the one with cheese and bacon, a little sour cream with them. Yeah, they are dangerous. They're real dangerous. You get to a Super Bowl party and you put those out, and it's like they're the best out of the oven. Don't get me wrong, but like there could be one sitting there for a quarter. And you go over there, you're like, grab a couple more sour cream. They're really good.
Swap out the sour cream for ranch for me, and you're talking my language.
Absolutely,
Brendan,
I'll take it.
Yes, sir. Number 3 on your list, Brendan.
Mine are more like basically you can add a lot of things to. I went with fried rice because I don't know what of course you can go multiple places. I don't know what Payway has done to me, but their chicken fried rice, like you of course with the fried egg in there, of course all that chicken, of course you can do whatever else. You can do shrimp, you can do steak, you can do whatever. It's just so good. I can eat it for days, and you're like, oh, how much sodium did you just eat?
Is there bacon? Is there bacon in your fried rice?
I've never tried that, but that sounds awesome.
Bacon fried rice. It still has the chicken and stuff or whatever you want, but the ones that have bacon in it. That's the next.
I gotta try that. That sounds awesome.
So good.
The only time I've ever had bacon in my fried rice was ABC fried rice, and it had like sausage, bacon, and then the egg and peas and carrots, but no chicken or anything like that.
In California, you get bacon in almost every fried rice. It is like a staple. You have to basically, because my friend Muhammad can't have bacon, so we have to go to places that don't serve the bacon fried rice. And it makes me sad.
Wow, never heard of bacon fried rice. That sounds amazing. Number 3 on my list, sticking with the junk food here, but chips. I mean, like if I'm at home watching a football game or something, and like there's a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos or Funyuns or something, and I'm like not careful and portion it out into a bowl, I could easily run through an entire bag. Like no questions asked.
Pretzels would be mine on that. I could run through pretzels.
I love pretzels, but after a while, it just like dries my mouth out like crazy.
Salty and crunchy. That is what I need.
The iconic flavor and texture. All right, number 2 on my list. I don't know if this is on y'all's list, but man, pizza.
I left it off mine, but it easily could be on. It's because I purposely try to limit myself when I get pizza to a specific amount. So since I do that, I was like, I shouldn't put it on there. But I used to be able to do a whole pizza like it was nothing. Like it was.
I would say, what about Big Mike? Well, how many slices would Big Mike eat back in the day?
Oh, he'd have his own, a whole pizza for sure. Like
large?
Yes. Oh yeah. We didn't even buy something if it wasn't a large. We do not buy pizza if it's not a large pizza.
I got you.
Mike's alter ego.
323-pound Mike.
I don't know, man. The aftermath of the Micah from like 6 months later, that Mike is a lot scarier than Big Mike to me.
That guy looks older than me now. That's the scary.
Dude, I
was almost dead.
Doesn't even look like anything like you. It's like you're just trying to be funny almost.
Yeah, it was. I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Man, you're gonna like die in a week, dude. What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Well, y'all told me it was stress. You misdiagnosed me." they were like, you're not going to live till 30 because you have stress. And I'm like, really? I have stress? All right. Well, I'll try to be less stressful. And then it ended up, I found out like 5 years later when I was almost dead, it was diabetes. I survived,
Crazy.
though. I'm 13 years old right now. Supposed to be dead by 30. So.
All right. Brendan, number 3 on your list. Oh, excuse me, number 2.
No. I just chose, like we talked about earlier with my favorite burger. I can eat it. Like, I had a burger today. If you say, hey, you're going to get some food and get a burger, I'm never turning it down. You can do whatever you want with a burger. Different place, every place burger tastes different, and so it's just a different thing every time.
So like if you're at the lake, or you're like a day of swimming in the pool, after getting out, like could you put down 2-3 burgers in one sitting? You think, or like?
I do double patty, so yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Mike, number 2 on your list.
Number 2 on my list, you guys are going to know this one because it's been number 1 on my favorite Super Bowl food list. It's dates stuffed with goat cheese wrapped with bacon. It's legitimately the best bite of food that I've ever had. And it would be number 1 on my list, but the way that I went with the question, I went another way with it. But it could easily be number 1. I could eat trays of it. I think it's the best possible bite of food you can have.
On average, on like a Super Bowl Sunday, how many of those do you think you eat?
I'll tell you this: while they're like, after you cook them, you have to take them off the skewer because you skewer the bacon around them. As I'm doing that, I put down 7 to 10. I mean, as I'm taking them off, I'm like, oh, this one looks good. And then while you're chewing it, you're trying to take off as many as you can to put them more. And then another one, you get done eating it, you put another one in. I mean, that's just 10 just sitting there. Let alone if we didn't have any other food and I was just eating that, nobody would get any. I would eat them myself.
Oh, man. I'm going to have to try those one day. I've had the sweet dates where it's like filled with peanut butter and I believe it's like an almond and then dipped in chocolate. It tastes like a Snickers.
It's the sweetness of the date, the tanginess of the goat cheese, and the smokiness of the bacon. That combination of savory, sweet, and tangy, because all the tang really does is make the other 2 more prevalent. Like because you have the tang, it tastes sweeter and it tastes smokier. And it's so good.
All right, Mike, number 1 on your list.
Okay, so number 1 on my list. Okay, imagine this. You go to a spot like Yard House or whatever your bar is, local bar, and you order the chicken nacho appetizer. The giant one that comes out with a big scoop of guacamole and sour cream and pico, and it's the table full that you just do for whatever group's there. I just sit there and eat them. Like, while everybody else gets entree or something else comes, I could be eating the entree and I'll be like, oh, let me get this bite with the guacamole and sour cream on here and the beans and the chicken and the cheese. So when I heard the list, that was what epitomized the list for me, is I could just sit there and eat those chicken nachos the whole time I'm there. So yeah, chicken nachos would be that number 1.
Nachos is such a good one, man. I can put down a pile of nachos. Brendan, number 1 on your list.
Mine's pizza. But mine's pizza. I thought about 2 things. I'm gonna first say my real answer. It is Meat Lovers Pizza. Okay, dude, bacon, pepperoni, sausage. It's just awesomeness. But I also wanted to say Red Baron just to see Mike's reaction.
I will log off of here.
When's the last time you hit up?
No.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I will start to go like this. If I hear Red Baron going out.
When's the last time you hit up a CC's Pizza, Brendan and Mike?
A what?
CC's Pizza.
Oh, I heard Pasisi's. I was like, what in the world? I haven't had CC's in years.
I don't know if we have it in Fresno.
Oh, really? Wow.
I'm a Mountain Light specific guy.
I know, Mike, you said in your heyday you could eat a large pizza. How many slices do you think you can put down nowadays, Brendan?
Okay, so it depends on, of course, how much I've eaten in the day or whatever, because like I said, with me losing weight, I haven't been able to eat much, but I feel like my appetite flows. I was at my friend Cooper's house. We were watching the Ranger game, and we got pizza. He's like, "Oh, so mainly this one's for you," and all that. It was gone within like 8 minutes, and I just looked at him. I'm like, I don't know what just happened. The medium pizza was gone, and I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of still hungry. You want to get snacks?" It's just weird.
How much pizza would you lose in your porn stash?
In my point.
Let's go, damn it! I'm exhausted.
All right, number one on my list. You guys had them. You guys had this answer on both of y'all's. Wings, of course. I can put down Wingstop. Not really a Buffalo Wild Wings guy, but I can destroy some wings. I don't really care for the breaded ones, but yeah, I love wings. Love wings. Mike, before you fall asleep, where can we find you on Twitter?
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy. Sorry, Paul. I forgot you had one more.
No worries. Brendan, remind the people they can find you on X.
You can find me at Brendan_Smith26. And Mike's dead. Okay, cool. Well, I don't know what we're going to do now.
All right, CD Lamb.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we will see you guys next week.